안녕하세요, 텀입니다. Okay, let's study Korean. Woo-hoo! Today we will learn 3 expressions. The first expression is 니은 는다고 해서. Someone said this, so. The second expression is 니은 는다, which means do something. It is also called a narrative form. The third expression is 니은 는다는, which means say that subject does. Once you learn these expressions, you will be able to use indirect speech pretty well. Moreover, you will be able to read and write diaries, newspapers, and essays. Oh yes, even essays. Wow, it's amazing! That's what university students do, right? After this video, you will master these writing skills. And I'm sure you will certainly be able to speak Korean. Let's complete our lessons together and be the super master of Korean. 그럼 시작할게요. You can use 니은 는다고 해서 in 2 ways. The first one is indirect speech, which means someone said this, so I heard that, so because someone said. For example, you use this grammar like 언니가 콘서트에 가고 싶다고 해서 같이 갔어요. I went to the concert with my sister because she said she wanted to. Okay? The second way is a negative expression. It has the meaning of just because, doesn't mean something. You can use it like 공부를 잘한다고 해서 모두가 서울대에 가는 건 아니에요. Just because you are good at studying doesn't mean everyone can go to the Seoul University. Do you get the 2 different meanings? Let's look at how to use this grammar. First, for an adjective, you only need to attach 고 해서 to the verb stem with or without a final consonant. For example, 기쁘다 is to be joyful, right? You attach 고 해서 to the stem to make 기쁘다고 해서. Likewise, if you want to use the word 좋다, to be good, you add 고 해서 to the stem, and you can say 좋다고 해서. Next, let's look at the use of a verb. You will attach 는다고 해서 if that is a final consonant, and 니은다고 해서 if that is a final consonant. For example, 먹다 is to eat, right? You add 는다고 해서 because this word has a final consonant. Therefore, you will say 먹는다고 해서. Conversely, 가다, to go, does not have a final consonant. Therefore, you will add 니은다고 해서 to the stem to make 간다고 해서. By the way, in Korean sentences in general, you can omit a subject which is he, she, or I. But in English, you cannot, right? If I constantly say he or she for every sentence, it can be a little bit too repetitive. So from now on, let's hypothesize that it is he every time. Okay? Now let's see some examples. 오빠가 못 온다고 해서 제가 대신 왔어요. I came here because my brother said he cannot come. Here, this sentence uses because someone says something. Since 오다 does not have a final consonant, you attach 니은다고 해서 to make 못 온다고 해서 because my brother said he cannot come. Let's see another example. 부모가 막는다고 해서 아이가 꿈을 포기하지 않을 거예요. I don't think children would give up their dreams just because their parents stop them. Here, this usage of this grammar is just because doesn't mean. Okay, do you get it? Since the word 막다, to prevent, to stop, has a final consonant, you add 는다고 해서 to the verb stem and make the phrase 막는다고 해서 just because the parent stops. Let's look at the use of adjectives. 시간이 많다고 해서 놀고 있으면 안 돼요. You shouldn't play too much just because you have plenty of time. Sounds like a phrase you can say to students before exams, right? Here, this phrase is used in the negative phrase just because does not mean something. 많다 is to be plenty, right? You attach 고 해서 to the adjective to make 많다고 해서 just because there is plenty of time. Quiz! Now, let's deepen our understanding of 고 해서 with some simple questions. Which of the phrases should go in the parentheses? 친구가 불고기를 같이 먹으러 가는 길이에요. I am on my way to eat 불고기 with my friend because he said he wants to. 1번 먹고 싶다고 해서 2번 먹다고 해서 The correct answer is number 1. Here, 먹고 싶다 is want to eat, right? This 고 싶다 is treated as an adjective. Therefore, you attach 다고 해서 to the stem to make 먹고 싶다고 해서 because he said he wants to. Let's read the correct sentence together. 친구가 불고기를 먹고 싶다고 해서 같이 먹으러 가는 길이에요. Okay, you can repeat it at least 3 times. Let's try the next one. 이게 해결될 일이 아닌 것 같아요. Just because you make an effort, this doesn't seem to resolve. Number 1, 노력하는다고 해서. Number 2, 노력한다고 해서. Wow, this sounds so realistic, right? The answer is number 2. Here, 노력하다, to make an effort, does not have a final consonant. Therefore, you can attach 니은다고 해서 to the stem to make 노력한다고 해서. Let's read it together. 이게 노력한다고 해서 해결될 일이 아닌 것 같아요. Try to imagine that you are persuading someone. Okay? Let's move on to the next grammar. The phrase 니은, 는다 means do or is or are. The meaning itself is quite simple. To begin with, the phrase 니은, 는다 is called the narrative form. I will say it again, narrative form. It is very plain and you are not talking to someone in particular. You're just expressing declarative facts. You can see this grammar a lot in school textbooks, newspaper articles, diaries, novels, essays, and so on. It is a little bit hard to explain in just an English translation, so I will show you Korean example sentences. For example, if you say, I was so happy to see my friend, in Korean, it could be 친구를 만나서 정말 기분이 좋았어요. Here, please pay attention to this 좋았어요 part. It indicates that you are talking to someone older than you. Right? Because you are using your form, which is a polite expression. However, if you say 친구를 만나서 정말 기분이 좋았다. Here, you can pay attention to this 좋았다 part. It becomes a very plain sentence that you might use for your diary. Because you are using 좋았다, a narrative form at the end. Do you get it? Now, I'll explain how to use this grammar. In the case of verbs, you will attach 는다 when the verb stem has a final consonant and 니은다 when the verb stem does not have a final consonant. Since 먹다, to eat, has a final consonant, you attach 는다 to the stem to make 먹는다, to eat. On the other hand, 가다, to go, does not have a final consonant. So you will attach 니은다 to say 간다, I'm going. Do you get it? For adjectives, it's super duper easy because you just have to use the dictionary form. For example, 예쁘다 is to be pretty in its dictionary form, right? So you just use it as it is. Ta-da! When you want to express the past tense, you use at 었다. When you use a phrase as a noun, you will attach 이다 to a noun. Okay, now let's read some sentences. 오늘은 아침부터 저녁까지 하루 종일 바쁘게 돌아다녔다. I walked around busily from morning to evening today. These are written words that can be used in a diary or a novel. The past tense for 돌아다니다, to walk around, is 돌아다녔다, walked around. Okay? Let's read the next sentence. 내일은 학교에 일찍 간다. I will go to school early tomorrow. A pretty simple sentence, right? Since 가다, to go, does not have a final consonant, you add 니은다 to make 간다. This 간다 can be expressed in the future tense as well as the present tense. Let's go to the next sentence. 친구와 어디 놀러 가고 싶다. I want to go somewhere with my friends. Here, 가고 싶다 means want to go, right? This go 싶다, wants to, is an adjective. So you just use the dictionary form. Don't change anything. Just let it be. 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 Okay, enough for singing. Now let's deepen our understanding of this grammar with a few simple questions. Which one is the correct answer? 내일은 오늘보다 더 더워진다고. They say that it'll be hotter tomorrow than yesterday. Number 1, 한다. Number 2, 했다. The answer is number 1. Did you notice 더워진다고 came from the grammar 니은 는다고 하다, which means somebody says. Since this 하다 does not have a final consonant, you will attach 니은다 to say 한다. Okay? Now let's read it aloud. 내일은 오늘보다 더 더워진다고 한다. Please read it at least 3 times. Let's try the next one. 나 여기 그냥 I will be staying here. Number 1, 있는다. Number 2, 있었다. The answer is number 1. Here, 있다 is to be, right? But 있다 can be both a verb and an adjective. When you want to say I am staying in a sentence, you are using the phrase as a verb. Therefore, you will attach 는다 to the stem to make 있는다. Now, let's read it together. 나 여기 그냥 있는다. I will be staying here. Do you get the narrative form? Good. Last but not least, you are going to learn 니은 는다는. It means say that subject does. I heard something does. The point here is a subject. You are modifying the following subject by using indirect speech. To apply this grammar to an adjective, you will add 다는 to its stem regardless of whether a word has a final consonant or not. For example, 좋다 is to be good, right? You attach 는 to make 좋다는. I heard that it's good. For a verb, you attach 는다는 to a stem if a verb has a final consonant, and you attach 니은다는 if a verb does not have a final consonant. For example, 받다 is to receive, right? Since 받다 has a final consonant, you attach 는다 to the stem to make 받는다는, heard that you are receiving. Since 오다, to come, does not have a final consonant, you attach 니은다는 to the stem to make 온다는, heard that someone is coming. For nouns, it will be 이라는, and for future tense, it is 겠다는. For past tense, you use 왔다는. Now, let's get to the sample sentences. 같이 가겠다는 사람이 모두 몇 명이에요? How many people in total say that they are going with us? Here, 가다 is to go, right? You attach 겠다는 to the verb stem. Therefore, it will be 가겠다는. Say that they are going. Can you see that the part 같이 가겠다는 is modifying the noun 사람, people? Do you get it? I hope you do, and I know you will. Okay, let's read the next example. 여기가 된장찌개를 잘한다는 식당 맞죠? I heard this restaurant has good 된장찌개. Is it right? Here, since the verb 잘하다, to be good at, does not have a final consonant, so you attach 니은다는 to say 잘한다는. I heard it has good. Okay? Quiz. Now let's check this grammar by solving simple quizzes. What goes between the parentheses? 이번 주에 유미 씨가 소식을 들었어요. I heard the news that Yumi is getting married this week. Number 1, 결혼한다는. Number 2, 결혼하는다는. The answer is number 1. Here, 결혼하다, to get married, is a verb without a final consonant, right? Therefore, you can attach 니은다는 to say 결혼한다는. Heard that someone is getting married. This 유미 씨가 결혼한다는. Heard that Yumi is getting married is modifying the noun 소식, news, right? So the correct answer is number 1. Now, let's read this sentence as if you are celebrating Yumi's wedding. 이번 주에 유미 씨가 결혼한다는 소식을 들었어요. Please read several times until you get the feeling. Now, let's try next quiz. 한국어 시험을 게 사실이에요? Is it true that you are taking a Korean examination? Number 1, 본다는. Number 2, 받는다는. The correct answer is number 1. In Korean, 시험을 보다 is to take an exam. It means to watch an exam, but this sounds natural in Korean. 보다, to watch, is a verb without a final consonant. Therefore, you attach 니은다는 to the stem to make 본다는 that you are taking. Now, let's read this sentence together. 한국어 시험을 본다는 게 사실이에요. Let's imagine that you are talking to your friends who are studying Korean now, and you can read it 3 times. Oh! Now you've learned up to this point, you might get the feeling of today's grammar. I'm sure that you guys are exceptionally excellent students. Now, I'd like to give you the gift of homework. Come on, homework. The first assignment is to make 3 sentences using the phrases you learned today. For the first sentence, please use 니은, 는다고 해서 just because doesn't mean something. Don't worry. I'm ready to accept all the negative hypothetical circumstances you come up with. For example, I would say 노래를 잘한다고 해서 모두가 가수가 되는 건 아니에요. Just because you sing well does not mean you can be singers. It's a little bit of a sad reality, right? Anyway, for the second sentence, please write something by using the narrative form 니은, 는다. Do something. For example, 우리는 지금부터 방 청소를 한다. We will clean the room now. It is just stating the fact that we are going to do the cleanup. Okay? For the third sentence, please tell me what someone said by using 니은, 는다는. Said that. I heard that. For example, I can say 어제 제 친구는 아프다는 이유로 학교에 못 왔어요. Yesterday, my friend was not able to come to school because of the reason that he was not feeling well. Pay attention that 아프다는 is modifying the noun, 이유, reason, okay? And your homework comments are a source of my energy. Please send me as many as you can. The second assignment is memorizing vocabulary. Please memorize 40 words from number 41 to number 80 on the first page of the intermediate vocabulary list. After memorizing these 40 words, please try taking a quiz that I've made available on my website. That's it! You are wonderful! I am so happy that you watched my video till the end. Thank you so much! I know it's difficult, but I'm sure that a bright future is always ahead of you. 그럼 오늘도 행복 가득, 웃음 가득한 하루 되세요. 한국어 파이팅 파이팅 파이팅!